The CEO and co-founder of Real Vision, Raoul Pal, predicts that Ethereum is the future. The cryptocurrency has a tendency to become even bigger than Bitcoin. In fact, Ethereum is one investment that can never go wrong. In an exclusive interview with Julian Hosp, the popular crypto expert shared his thoughts about Bitcoin, Ethereum, other altcoins, and the future of cryptocurrency. Hey guys, and welcome to Investing Few. In today's episode, I will break down the latest interview of Raoul Pal in which he is talking about Ethereum and Bitcoin. So stay tuned until the end of this video to see what he thinks about the future of these assets. But before we start, make sure to smash the like and subscribe button for more such content in the future. Let's dive right into the video. Thoughts about other altcoins. Raoul Pal is a big name in the crypto space. He is not only a Bitcoin enthusiast, but he has also shown his full support to Ethereum as well. Currently, 98% of his assets are in Bitcoin, and he recently shared his thoughts about how valuable Ethereum investment can be. The former hedge fund manager Raoul Pal gave an interview to Julian Hosp in which he shares what he thinks about other altcoins and most importantly, Ethereum, and what he thinks about Bitcoin maximalists who believe no other cryptocurrency can be as successful as Bitcoin. Let's see what Raoul had to say about this.
Yeah, I just don't buy into that argument. I understand there's a probability of it. So, I'm not saying it's a 0% chance. There is a probability. This whole idea that anything that is a utility trades at the cost of electricity, I just think is false. I think it's false because of Metcalfe's law adoption effects. And we've seen that time and time again. Now, when John Pfeffer wrote the paper that everybody refers to, every Bitcoin maximist holds as like, here is the prophet of truth, he basically wrote off network effects. So I went and proved it, that network effects operate perfectly in Ethereum. In fact, it operates in every one of these. In fact, all new technologies are network effect driven. So I don't believe that utilities have a zero function. Some that are badly designed may do, but most I don't believe will. The hard question is which ones are going to succeed and which ones aren't. I don't know the answer to that. So there is a maximalist school of thought is we all got caught out in 2017 because we bought these tokens and they went to zero. Guess what? They were all early stage projects. And if you understand how the VC world works, 80% of what you invest in is going to go to zero or go nowhere. And it's really the 20%, 10%, 5% that you make the money in. So what was the one out of 2000 that did well, out of 2017? Ethereum. Now, Ethereum is around today. It hasn't taken out its peak versus Bitcoin yet, but it's taken out its all-time high. Will it outperform Bitcoin over time? Who knows? I think for a period of time, certainly. And I think over a longer period of time, probably. So how I look at this is Bitcoin is currently $1 trillion-ish, and the rest of the space is, call it $700 or $800 million. If I look at the equity space or the fixed income space or the credit space globally, they're all about 300 to 500 trillion. So if this is truly as disruptive as we think it is, which is the internet of value, then it's going to be worth something like that, if not more. So the whole space looks like it can go to up 200x from here.
Raoul Pal also discusses what are some of the other cryptocurrencies which he thinks have the value to be successful in the future. According to him, Ethereum for sure has a bright future, and he believes it is possible that it can go on to be more successful even than Bitcoin.
The answer is I don't know. I see value in the space. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough bandwidth to go through all of these. What's going to get network effects and what's not? What's going to find the use cases? What's going to find the developers? I don't know. Ethereum for sure. I mean, that's a surefire, major platform that is going to play a major part in the future. But the others, I honestly don't know. So I just bought a basket of 10 alts. I did it in a very unscientific way. If my thesis is network effects, I went onto Twitter and said, shill me your, and it basically breaks down to DeFi, decentralized exchanges, some alternative protocols, and the interoperability layer. And amongst those, you pretty much cover everything. So I just kind of did an allocation equally weighted amongst those and took kind of what seemed to be the largest market cap that had the most number of smart people interested in it. That wasn't based on just kind of the hype cycle, but had some really interesting people involved. whether it was investors in, if you look at Polkadot, I mean, there's serious people behind Polkadot. So you have to take it seriously. Whether it works or not, who knows? But you can take it seriously.
Views about current Bitcoin cycle. Sharing his thoughts about the current Bitcoin cycle, Raoul Pal makes a big prediction, stating that Bitcoin has the potential to hit a 100,000 mark during this cycle, and it has the tendency to do extremely well this year. For the next year, even if a Bitcoin crash happens, it won't be too damaging or destructive as we saw in 2013 or 2017.
I've been thinking through the same thing. What's interesting is the seasonal cycle of Bitcoin is pretty clear. So it goes up early Jan, then corrects, then goes up in Feb, corrects in March, April. And we're kind of seeing that exactly play out now. And then it explodes into June. I think it gets to 100,000. And then it corrects sideways. Sideways in Bitcoin terms is like down 30%, but for an extended period of time until, let's say, September, October, maybe a little bit earlier, and then explodes into the end of the year. What's interesting is this cycle also looks pretty much like the 2013 cycle. It's pretty close. It's actually pretty close. It's diverging a bit from the 2017 cycle because it's actually ahead of it in terms of price movement. So that's how I see the rest of this year playing out. Next year, I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of thinking that we won't have a big collapse because of the new participants.
Talking about future. Concluding the discussion, Raoul Pal shares his thoughts about the future of cryptocurrencies and the revolution in the world in the form of digital markets. He also discusses the role of governments and the reactions of central banks.
What we've got coming in the next 10 years is probably the biggest thing we will ever see in terms of change. We've got, after this, the vaccines, we've now got the breakthrough in genetics, really. We saw how fast this came, right? 2 weeks they solved this. So we've got a biotech revolution that is now fully underway and is going to absorb huge amounts of capital. We've got a parallel financial system being built, which is this whole digital world we talked about. We've got the digital worlds where people are living in, which is esports, gaming, VR, right? We haven't merged all of those fully yet. That's all coming. In the next 10 years, people are going to live like you and I grew up with television. We're going to be living, we won't be doing it like this. We'll be sitting together with VR headsets, talking to each other, and it'll all be different, right? We will live interoperably between the two worlds. We've also got a green revolution underway. Europe is driving that. By 2030, Europe will have reduced all emissions by 65%. When I walk down the road in the Cayman Islands, I've got an electric car here in Little Cayman and also a big diesel Land Rover. But I was walking around Cayman Islands thinking, in 10 years' time, nobody's going to manufacture any petrol or diesel cars again.
Anymore.
Ever.
Yeah.
Right? We can't get your heads around that. This is not going to be there anymore. Autonomous driving. In 10 years, it's going to be pretty standard for delivery vehicles, taxis. We've got blockchain itself for personal identification, how we might get paid for our attention, supply chains. That's all coming in the next 10 years. We've got the sharing economy of Uber and all of this stuff. You know, that's just only going to grow. World population is going to start peaking over time as well. We've seen it in Europe, we've seen it in the US, we've seen it in most of developed Asia. It'll start peaking around the world. So population pressures that have been the big issue of the world for food and resources, they're going to start dissipating over time. The rate of change is going down. Universal basic income, 3D printing, artificial intelligence, robotics, things like GPT-3, which is the natural language text that comes out of artificial intelligence, the rise of behavioral economics, 5G, 6G, global Wi-Fi that people like Tesla are building out, Elon Musk is building out from SpaceX, gigantic deflationary pressures of having this digital financial system that creates deflation, and the rise of technology and bringing all of the baby boomers out of the workforce. Everything is going to be driven by network effects. So everything looks exponential and not linear. We've got distributed computing coming. And then all of that is going to get applied to emerging markets because they're going to go from here to here in one step change.
So, Raoul Pal is hopeful that a lot of change is going to come in the next few years, and he is hopeful that this transition will actually help to solve most of the world's problems and a transition will occur towards better quality of life. And there you have it. What do you think about Raoul Pal and his thoughts about Ethereum? Tell us in the comments. Thanks for watching.